Hello, welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is a huge night for the Hammers as they take on German champions Bayer Leverkusen at the London Stadium in the second leg of this last day Europa League tie. West Ham are coming into this game after back-to-back defeats, with the first coming against Leverkusen in the first leg, and they also lost the Premier League fixture on Sunday to Fulham, and it was a 2-0 defeat, a double from Andreas Pereira. This is not the form that David Moyes would have wanted going into such a big European night, but no form could prepare them or compare them to that of tonight's opposition, Bayer Leverkusen. For Xabi Alonso, he made history as he has led his side to their first ever Bundesliga title and still has them unbeaten all season in all competitions. It is now 43 games without defeat, with a cup final still to play and a spot in the Europa League semi-final up for grabs, where the winner tonight will take on either Roma or AC Milan in the last four. These two have now met twice this season, both at the home of Bayer Leverkusen, where the German side has won both times, 4-0 during the end of pre-season and a 2-0 win, which came in that first leg at home, where the goals came late on from Hoffman and Boniface, them two players coming off the bench to secure the victory for Leverkusen. So, for a night which could define West Ham's season, can they do the impossible and turn round this 2-goal deficit against the unbeatable Bayer Leverkusen? It is going to be a huge night for West Ham. They have had many big nights in Europe in recent years, but this is going to be one of the biggest so far. They are up against it with a 2-0 deficit at the moment, and against the most informed team in Europe without question. Bayer Leverkusen at the weekend won the Bundesliga. It was confirmed with their 5-0 home win to Werder Bremen. They were only 1-0 up at half-time, but changes were made, and they ended up winning that by 5-0. Eventually a hat-trick from their main man, Florian Wirtz, who's now on a staggering 17 goals in all competitions now this season. And they definitely enjoyed their title win at the weekend by Leverkusen. I'm sure you all would have seen the videos circulating online of them celebrating their title win, which they are, of course, allowed to do. But maybe for West Ham, they could get a bit of a hungover Leverkusen side. Not literally hungover, but just having that title celebration still in their mind. Maybe not as ready as they may have been without that title win. Of course, celebrations were fantastic to see, but hopefully for Leverkusen's sake, it's not just. They've been able to clear that, and they've got their head back in the game now for what is a treble that is on for them. They've got to remember that. They've got to try and see the bigger picture, even though the picture is still big with the fact they've won their first ever Bundesliga title, but they're in the cup final where they're taking on Kaiserslautern. They are in the Europa League, of course, looking like they're going to probably get to the semi-final stage. So there's still so much more to achieve for this Leverkusen side. But yeah, they did definitely enjoy their title celebrations. So West Ham could maybe look at that and see if they can maybe just try and put some early pressure on Leverkusen, see kind of what Leverkusen side is turning up tonight. They have made quite a lot of changes from that league lineup. We'll go through the league. We'll go through the starting 11s just in a couple of minutes' time. I forgot to do the aggregate scoreline. It'll be in brackets. The aggregate scoreline, of course, Leverkusen leading by 2-0. Those 2 goals did come late on last Thursday against this West Ham side, who defended pretty resolutely for the majority of the game, but the two substitutes of Jonas Hoffman and Victor Boniface was able to break through for Leverkusen. That second goal could be the killer for West Ham, scored in the 91st minute. But West Ham need to do more in this game. They had one shot in the entirety of last week's game. It was a decent chance as well for Mohamed Kudus in the box, but they've definitely got to try and pose more of a threat, which you obviously would expect with the fact they're at home at the London Stadium. They've got to be more positive. And even though Leverkusen are a difficult team, they don't concede many goals as well, by the way. Bayer Leverkusen have conceded 29 goals in all competitions this season. They've played 43 games. That's well under a goal a game conceded. It is a magnificent record, and it's going to be seriously difficult for West Ham tonight. But they've got to be up for the challenge. They've got to believe they can do it. If there's no belief, there's no point really. So let's see if West Ham can somehow turn this game around. Interesting fact, Leverkusen have won 1 of their last 10 away games against English opposition in all competitions. They've drawn 2, lost 7, but their only victory did come in their last trip to the capital. They beat Spurs in November 2016 by a 1-0. So it's not usually a place that these Leverkusen teams like to come to, don't like coming to England as often. And for West Ham, in terms of their statistics, which would get them a little bit more up for this game, they have won each of their last 11 home games in all European competition. That's including qualifiers. Of course, they had a pretty much spotless run in the Conference League last year, and they've continued that this year at home. So there's definitely positives for West Ham. We're going to go through both starting 11s now, and West Ham have made the 3 changes from last week's tie against Leverkusen. Emerson and Paqueta are both out, suspended with a yellow card suspension. Huge misses for West Ham, but Fabianski remains in goal on his 39th birthday. A back 4 of Vladimir Soufal, who looks to be leaving the club at the end of this season after the ending of his contract. He's making his 150th West Ham appearance. It's going to be Kurt Zuma and Nayef Aguerd as the 2 centre-backs, with experienced Aaron Cresswell at left back. 2 older midfielders of Edson Alvarez, who missed the first leg with a yellow card suspension himself. He'll play alongside Thomas Souček. Just in front of them is the attacking midfielder, will be James Ward-Prowse, who's yet to score in this season's Europa League campaign. On the left, I've gone for Mikel Antonio, looking for his 80th West Ham goal of his career. On the right is Mohamed Kudus, and up front, returning after missing the last 2 games, including the first leg against Leverkusen and the game against Fulham in the league on Sunday, is a returning Jared Bowen. He's making his 199th West Ham appearance. He has scored 1 goal so far in the Europa League. He's not been firing as much as they would have liked to in this competition for Jared Bowen, and that goal did come in the last game here in the Europa League, in that 5-0 thrashing of Freiburg in the last 16. They'll definitely be needing Jared Bowen to turn up tonight to try and see West Ham through to the semi-final, as they are on this journey to try and reach Dublin. That's where the final of this competition is taking place. And for Leverkusen, they make 6 changes from their starting 11 against Werder Bremen at the weekend. And there is a change in goal. Their Europa League goalkeeper is Matej Kovar, and he is starting in goal with a back 3 of Odilon Kasunu, Jonathan Tah, the captain, and Piero Hincapié, the Ecuadorian left centre-half. At right wing-back will be loanee from Bayern Munich. That is Josip Stanisic. On the left-hand side of the wing-backs will be Alejandro Grimaldo, and 2 central midfielders which remain the same from last week's first leg, and that is Ezequiel Palacios and Granit Xhaka. With front 3 on the right is going to be Nathan Tella, who they brought in for £20 million from Southampton. On the left is the wonder kid Florian Wirtz, turning 21 next month. And through the middle, leading the line, will be number 14, Patrick Schick, who has got 5 goals in his last 5 Europa League appearances. He scored 3 times against Karabag in the last 16. He was not able to score last week, but the replacement for him off the bench, Victor Boniface, did the goal scoring. The Nigerian for Leverkusen, Victor Boniface, who got the goal scoring underway in the weekend game against Werder Bremen, he is on the bench tonight. So they are the 2 starting 11s here, as we are moments away from kick-off here at the London Stadium. Tonight's referee, it's an all-Spanish lineup for the officials, and the referee is Jose Maria Sanchez, the 40-year-old who last officiated in the Europa League when Liverpool beat Sparta Prague 5-1 in March of this year. And his 2 assistants are Raul Cabanero and Inigo Prieto. And then VAR is Carlos Del Cerro Grande, and his assistant is Ricardo de Burgos. So an all-Spanish lineup for the officials as West Ham take on Bayer Leverkusen. Here are the two captains of Kurt Zouma and Jonathan Tah. As we'll find out who gets kick-off, who's kicking which end first. It's got to be a quick start for West Ham. They definitely cannot concede in this game for me. They've got to keep a clean sheet as a minimum. If they concede at least one, then they've got to score 3. You know, it's already a big mountain to climb. That mountain could become a lot taller if they were to concede first. They definitely just need a quick start for me, just to get the fans on side, get the fans up for it. Not like they're not already, but just to really get them involved in the game, get them excited, because of course, you know, you're coming up against the Leverkusen side who haven't lost all season, and if West Ham, if they are to progress, they've got to win the game. You know, a draw obviously is not good enough, so it's a huge ask for West Ham, who have lost their last 2 games. They've just won 1 of their last 6 in all competitions, and that was away at the start of this month to Wolverhampton Wanderers. For Bayer Leverkusen, they are on a run of 8 wins in a row in all competitions. The last time they didn't win was the draw in the last 16 first leg against Karabag, where they scored a 92nd minute equaliser to avoid defeat in that game. But it looks like it's going to be West Ham to kick right to left. Leverkusen left to right towards their away support, which is just to that right-hand side of as we look towards the pitch here at the London Stadium, which looks to be sold out, holds 62,500. It will be West Ham to kick off tonight. And a huge night once again here for David Moyes and his men to try and reach another Europa League semi-final. They reached the semi-final 2 seasons ago, were knocked out by German opposition of Eintracht Frankfurt, who went on to win the competition. It's a big ask for them, but can they turn this one around? We'll have to wait and see. We kick off it with West Ham kicking off with Ward-Prowse, going back to Agird, who sends it long down the right-hand side towards Souček, heads it into the box towards Bowen, dealt with by Kasunu. Antonio brought down, cleared eventually, nothing given by the referee. And we're underway here on the halfway line at the left-back position for West Ham with Aaron Cresswell. Goes down the line, lifted ball, Ward-Prowse will chase it. He's going to try and bully Kasunu off the ball, but he's seen it behind, but he won't go out for a goal kick, kept in by Antonio. He now finds Kudus on the left wing, takes on Stanisic. Kudus towards the byline, works across into the far post, all the way through to Soufal, outside the area. He wants to try and put the ball back in if possible. The cross goes in, teasing ball, headed into the air by Jonathan Tah and caught by Mate Kovar. But that is the start West Ham needed in this game. Getting on the front foot, putting Leverkusen under some early pressure, as it is the away side to try and play out from the back. It's with their right back Stanisic, inside to Palacios, goes back to Stanisic. We're in the 18-yard box now with Kasunu, who switches it out to the left. It's a poor pass, picked up by Bowen, on the edge of the area, tries to shot, blocked there by Hincapié. And it's now back with West Ham on halfway with Zouma. Brilliant start from the Hammers. It's exactly what they needed. A firing start to get the fans on side and to get belief in the stadium that they can try and turn this around. Agird with a pass forward to Souček, controls it brilliantly away from Xhaka, who trips him from behind, and it'll be a free kick for West Ham just in front of the halfway line. Granit Xhaka has a brilliant record against West Ham, just the one defeat in his previous 15 against them, but that loss did come here at the London Stadium in the 2018-2019 season. It was a 1-0 win for West Ham. And it looks like they're going to just try and put this in the 18-yard box. It's going to be a high line from Leverkusen. It's about 10 yards in front of the 18-yard box. West Ham are going to send their tallest players forward as Ward-Prowse is stood over this one. He'll be the one to deliver, as always. Ward-Prowse clips it in. It's a high one into the 18-yard box where it's a header away there from Xhaka. Teller will chase it and he'll get there for Leverkusen. 1-on-1 with Alvarez. Slide challenge from the Mexican. And it'll be a throw-in for the away side. Well, stopped there, the counter-attack by Edson Alvarez, who they missed in the first leg due to a yellow card suspension. Do apologise, just getting a drink there, but I've realised the mug I've got is got the team I support on it. So I'm going to hide that for now. As Leverkusen win a free kick. This time Alvarez committing the foul. Needs to be careful, Edson Alvarez. In all competitions this season, he's picked up 15 yellow cards in 37 appearances, which is Almost a yellow card every other game for the former Ajax midfielder. Not booked that time though, but it's a free kick midway side the Leverkusen half here for the now German champions. And it's with their right wing back of Stanisic. He's being played back towards goal there, and he has to go to Kasunu. Inside to Xhaka, being closed down by Alvarez. Goes to his goalkeeper in the 6-yard box of Kovar, who can bring it forward. Plays a low ball into Xhaka. It's now Wirtz, who just drops a little bit deeper to get some touches of the ball. Finds Kasunu. Then down the line for Stanisic, who goes beyond the halfway line on this near side for Leverkusen. Schick caught in possession there by Agerd. And West Ham go back to Cresswell. Then on once more to Fabianski in the 18-yard box. Just caught a little bit cold there. Patrick Schick up front for Leverkusen, who didn't have his best performance last week. Was forced off and was substituted for Victor Boniface in the end, who ended up making the difference for Leverkusen up front, scoring the second of the 2 goals. As in the defensive third for West Ham, it's Agerd. Chips it down the left-hand side. Antonio will chase it, headed forward by Kasunu. Not kept in, though. It is kept in by Palacios, and it's Leverkusen back on the ball in their back line here with captain Jonathan Tah. He plays forward to the halfway line here to Wirtz, and then back to number 3 of Hincapié, who's now started 2 of the last 4 Europa League games. As they try and play a ball in behind. Cut out by Cresswell as Nathan Teller almost got on the end of it on the edge of the box. Fabianski's forced to clear beyond the halfway line. No one there really chasing it, but he's Ward-Prowse to get onto the heavy touch of Kasunu, who then has to dive in to try and stop Ward-Prowse, and that'll be a booking. Odilon Kasunu, the Ivorian, claiming he'd won the ball. But like I say, Fabianski cleared. Then no one for West Ham was going to get there until Kasunu touched it off his thigh, and the touch just got away from him, and Ward-Prowse was bearing down towards him. Ward-Prowse beat him to it and was caught. Very simple decision for the referee there to give a free kick yellow. Kasunu got absolutely none of the ball and all of Ward-Prowse. And Odilon Kasunu didn't feature last week from the start. And he's been thrown into this one, and he's already picked himself a yellow card. So it's some early pressure now on the Leverkusen defence once again, with another cross that can be put into the box here by Ward-Prowse. He goes short instead to Soufal, who will then put it in the box himself. It's slightly overhit. Cresswell will chase it down, but he can't avoid the goal kick. And that's what it'll be for Bayer Leverkusen. But it's a start that David Moyes will like from his West Ham side. Definitely on the front foot. Not making it easy for Leverkusen, that's for sure. West Ham have won 3 of their last 4 meetings at home against German opposition. They had to play Freiburg 4 times already this season, playing Freiburg in the group stage and then the last 16, winning both times at home. As Leverkusen kick the ball out of play here. Poor direction on the kick, throwing for West Ham, and Cresswell finds its way into its own half here to Agerd, the left centre-half, who comes in for Mavropanos tonight. He goes over the top down the left channel here, looking for Antonio. Well dealt with there by Kasunu. It's now a Stanisic, goes back to Kasunu, who clears it away, up to the halfway line towards Schick. Headed backwards there by Agerd, looking for Zuma, but he said it's gone towards Schick, who cannot beat Soufal to it. 2 Czech teammates battling for the ball, and it's the West Ham right-back who came out on top. And it's now the Hammers in possession in their defensive third here with Edson Alvarez. He's got time on the edge of the area here to bring the ball forward and plays it across to the right here to Kurt Zuma, who's coming up towards a century of appearances for West Ham. This is appearance number 98 for the club. Signed for just less than £30 million from Chelsea in August 2021, as West Ham going behind again through Soufal this time. Overhit. Antonio couldn't quite get on the end of it. And it's now with Jonathan Tah, who goes back to his goalkeeper of Kovar. Was once of Manchester United. Kovar just messing around with the ball, and he was almost pickpocketed there by Ward-Prowse. It's cleared, but it's gone straight to Soufal, and West Ham can come forward. The West Ham fans are up for it. I can't hear it, but you can see it. Jared Bowen on the right wing, taking on one, and just kicking it out of play for throwing in the defensive third for Leverkusen. Almost there for Jared Bowen. It looks like he's taking up a right wing position. Kovar there, hesitating on the ball, and he was just about able to use his footwork to keep the ball away from the tackling Ward-Prowse. So throwing for Leverkusen, taking to Palacios, who kicks it right up in the air here. And Bowen can head it down toward Prowse, who heads it on towards Antonio. Cleared away by Tar. Up to Schick, who flicks it here to Teller, who can drive forward here and plays it into the space. Down the left wing for Schick, who's got space in front of him. Into the 18-yard box on the angle. Schick pulls it back, and he can't find Teller on the penalty spot. Well dealt with by Souček. Played down the line by Sue. Foul. Up towards Bowen. It deflects off Hincapié. And I think that'll be a throw-in for West Ham. Just seem a little uncomfortable, this Leverkusen side. Of course, enjoyed their trophy celebrations at the weekend, but they've been thrown into a rather challenging game here this Thursday night. But this is the 5th time that West Ham have trailed by 2 or more goals going into a second leg of a 2-legged knockout tie in all European competition. They progressed from the first 2, where they were trailing by 2 or more, but they have failed to progress in the last 2, where they have been down by 2 or more. So it's 50-50 whether they'll go through tonight based off historic stats, but stats are just numbers and words that usually don't really mean anything on the night. Sometimes it can paint a picture, but it's a brand new game. And it's definitely one that West Ham are more involved in, and it's a short ball by Kasunu, who's having a really poor start to the game. Kudus running it to the defence, but overrunning it. Tackled there by Palacios, who plays it to his left into the centre circle here to Wirtz. Brings it forward. Options left and right. Space in the middle, though, for Schick. Can't quite find him as it's been cut out by Zuma, but straight to Wirtz. Crossed by Palacios to the far post, where it's over the head of the jumping Teller. And it's out for a throw-in for West Ham in a right-back position. Chance there for Leverkusen. But Xabi Alonso's got some thinking to do, because Odilon Kasunu at the back for Leverkusen's on a yellow. And he's having a very nervy start to the game here. They do have Edmund Tapsoba on the bench as a replacement, who started the first leg. The Soufal's throw-in headed inside there by Hincapié for Leverkusen, but straight to Bowen, who ball deflects off Teller. And it's now with Teller as he receives the pass from Palacios, and he strikes it from afar. That's a fantastic save from Fabianski to keep it at just 2-0 on aggregate. Nathan Teller back in England, wanting to score against West Ham for the first time. He arrowed it towards the top left corner. It was a good strike. It's a nice height for Fabianski, but it's hit with power, which meant that Fabianski had to get across quickly to save it. That's from the corner. Swung in. Header won at the near post by Alvarez. Helped on by Bowen. It'll be back with Leverkusen with Grimaldo, who will let the ball roll out for a throw-in for the away side. Starting to grow into the game a bit more, Leverkusen, in terms of going forward after some early West Ham pressure. Thanks to everyone who's here. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. The next 2 commentaries are both on Sunday. Early kick-off at 12:30. It's a big game in the Championship relegation battle, where Blackburn welcome Sheffield Wednesday, and then we have an FA Cup semi-final where Coventry will be taking on Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final. That should be a really good occasion for Coventry, who do go into that game after losing at the weekend away to Birmingham, so they're not in a great form themselves, as Zuma heads away for West Ham on halfway, but it falls straight to Palacios in his own half. Switches out to the left, space for Grimaldo, controls it well. Teller's making a run ahead of him. He finds Teller, who can get the ball across, but no one's there to latch onto it, and it's a goal kick for West Ham. Schick was in there, but Teller hit it with a bit too much pace, and West Ham try and play as quickly as possible with left back Cresswell. High ball forward, down the left channel for Antonio, but it will roll out of play for a Leverkusen throw-in. And they'll be taken here by Josip Stanisic, on loan from Bayern Munich, his only goal of the season against Bayern Munich. They obviously don't have that rule in Germany where you can't play against your parent club. And he's going to be going back to Bayern Munich with a league title medal as a poor clearance there for Leverkusen. Headed forward by Souček to Bowen, who's in more of a central area. He'll work it out to the right, though, to Soufal, who's forward from fullback. Back to Bowen, on his left foot, delivers it in. Antonio with the header! And West Ham have one back. You can't say they don't deserve it. It's been a really good start for the Hammers. And they've cut the deficit in half. It's 2-1 in aggregate. And it's a man for the big occasion. And that is Mikel Antonio scoring the header. And that is his 80th goal in West Ham colours. He always pops up when they need him. Even at the age now of 34. Turning a brilliant cross into a goal. Really brave from Antonio. Bowen, who they so dearly missed in the first leg, returned to the squad with a brilliant assist towards the far post on the 6-yard line. Kovar came for it. Antonio got up the highest, headed it home, and the goal will stand. There's no offside, and West Ham lead at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Leverkusen 0, 2-1 in aggregate, and this is what we wanted as neutrals, a quick West Ham start. And this game is well and truly back on. Antonio with the goal. It's his first goal of the season in the Europa League. He started all 3 of the last Europa League games. Xabi Alonso is fuming with his side early on here at the London Stadium. It's been a slow start. But just to show how good Leverkusen are defensively, that is just the 30th goal they have conceded all season in all competitions. This is their 44th game. Absolutely crazy. Not many teams score against them, but West Ham have tonight. Mikel Antonio with the header. And we're back with 15 minutes played. It'll be a throw-in for West Ham in the final third here with Aaron Cresswell. The crowd is bouncing at the London Stadium as Cresswell finds Alvarez, goes back into the West Ham half here with a Gerd, squares it to his right to Zuma. It's now with the right back Soufal. Leverkusen press high. Soufal down the line for Bowen, goes into the midfield to Souček, keeps it away from Wirtz, and it's now back on the edge of the 18-yard box here with Zuma. Well kept there for West Ham. You now find a Gerd in possession. Alvarez facing his own goal, goes back to a Gerd. The Moroccan clears up to the halfway line, headed on by Stanisic. It goes the wrong way. It'll be held up by Antonio, who will take it down the left-hand side. Tackled by Kasunu, but drops to Kudus. West Ham can attack down the left-hand side. Kudus into the final third. A little bit isolated here. He's got Cresswell overlapping. Kudus will go back himself, and he'll find the ball to Zuma in the centre circle. Well kept there by the Ghanaian. And it's now in the West Ham half here with Kurt Zuma, the captain tonight. And Soufal down the right-hand side. Ward-Prowse heads it inside. Dealt with by Tar for now. Tar keeps Ward-Prowse off the ball. Plays it to his goalkeeper Kovar, who clears it first time up to the halfway line, where Zuma heads it away from Schick, but straight to Xhaka. And it's Leverkusen to attack. In the centre circle is the Swiss international, Granit Xhaka. He's got runs out to the right. He finds Stanisic, who midway inside the West Ham half here on the near side, just slows down the game. Goes back inside to Xhaka. It's now the away side to enjoy a little bit of possession of their own here, after quite a frantic start here by West Ham. They're now in their own half here with Kasunu, as he received the ball there from Palacios. He was tripped by Ward-Prowse, who gives him a bit of his own mind there. Ward-Prowse not happy with the way that Palacios fell to the ground. But it's a free kick for Leverkusen, taken here to Palacios on this near side, who has to go back to Kasunu, who won AFCON with the Ivory Coast early on this year. Played the full 90 minutes in the final. The 23-year-old centre-half, making his 20th Europa League appearance. And it's another free kick here for Leverkusen. Ward-Prowse again with another push and another foul. I think this one's starting to get a bit heated here. A lot of words being exchanged between the two sets of players. Could begin to get a bit feisty, this one. And that's what the West Ham fans will want. They'll want to make this a very difficult place for Leverkusen to play their football in. As it's out to the far side here with Schick, who's just drifted out to the left wing. Goes back to Palacios, who cannot keep the ball in play on that far side. And it's a throw-in just inside the West Ham half here for the home side. For West Ham themselves, just not been good enough at the back. They've scored 75 goals now this season in all competitions, but they've conceded 73. See where their problems have lied at times as Soufal clears this long and in behind. Kudus will chase it. Stanisic will not get there for Leverkusen. Kudus in the box on his right foot. Strikes it, deflects, and it's saved by Kovar. Almost for West Ham as they were looking to equalise an aggregate. It's a hopeful ball in behind by Soufal. Chased down by Kudus. Put Stanisic under pressure. Antonio is available. But Kudus went on his own. As West Ham come again here. Header won by Tar in the 18-yard box. Drops to Wirtz. It's now with Palacios who will drive it forward. Plays it down the right-hand side here to Teller, who slows the possession down and brings in Palacios. It's now Xhaka in the centre circle. Bringing it forward himself. He's got options everywhere around him. He goes back to his central midfield partner of Palacios. It's now with Kasunu. Forward down the right side to Stanisic. On once more to Wirtz in the final third, being tracked here by Alvarez. Wirtz on the ball, just outside the box. Goes across to the left to Xhaka, then back out wide to the right to Stanisic, who will work the low cross in, deflects off Cresswell, and off Stanisic, who will boot the ball away, and that'll be a throw-in for West Ham. Wonder if Stanisic will be booked there for absolutely punting the ball away. Cresswell's down though here for West Ham. He seems in pain. They do have a replacement for Cresswell of Ben Johnson, who is usually more of a right back, but can certainly play left back. I don't think Stanisic has been booked there. He tried to keep the ball in, and then once he knew the ball went out of play, he absolutely hoofed it away to obviously stop a quick restart. Xabi Alonso wants his side to just settle down. I'm not sure if he was booked there. The Croatian, the Leverkusen number 2. Don't think he was, because West Ham couldn't necessarily get restarted quickly because Aaron Cresswell was down. And he's now back to his feet taking the throw-in. All right, mate, how you doing? I do remember you from last week. Hope you are okay. But we've had a much better game already in the first 20 minutes of this one compared to the full 90-odd minutes we had at Leverkusen. It was very attack versus defence. It was a bit of a painful watch at times last week, as Leverkusen has 73% of the possession. And West Ham only had one shot. Poor ball by Palacios, given away on halfway to Bowen, who charges forward for West Ham. Ward-Prowse to his left, in a little bit of space. He finds Ward-Prowse in the final third. Left-footed cross goes in. Brilliant ball. Antonio heads on, but he can't quite generate the power to get it beyond Kovar. Comfortable save in the end for the Czech goalkeeper, but it's so much better from West Ham. Just imagine if they could have kept last week at 1-0. You know, they'd be level now and they'd be the team on top. Leverkusen did do well to double their lead last week late on, as it's the Leverkusen throwing midway inside their own half. On that far side, Zuma heading the ball away there from Schick up front for Leverkusen. As again, Souček a little bit heavy on the challenge from behind there. Free kick for Leverkusen inside their own half. But this will be a big challenge for Xabi Alonso's side. This is the first time he's coming up against English opposition in his managerial career. Did play 67 minutes of that very famous FA Cup final back in 2006 when Liverpool famously beat West Ham with that Steven Gerrard screamer. But Xabi Alonso now plying his trade as a manager. Won 3 Bundesliga titles himself as a player at Bayern Munich. Now he's got one as a manager with Leverkusen. As it's the away side on the ball. Just inside their own half, far side. Grimaldo forced to go back here to Hincapié. And it's now into the 18-yard box here to their goalkeeper in an all-pink strip of Mate Kovar. made his Czech Republic debut in the March international break against Armenia. As it's Wirtz, who can't quite keep the ball for Leverkusen. It's now in the West Ham half here with Zuma. It's out to the right back of Soufal, wants to go forward. Plays down the line to Bowen. Flicks on, looking for Antonio. Cut out by Tar, all as far as the head of Souček. As Tar then shoves into Antonio. Not seen as a foul by the referee. That's surprising. And it's Leverkusen on the ball in their own half. I mean, he went with his shoulder there, Tar, but it was more just a shove in the back of Antonio using his shoulder. I thought that would have been given as a free kick, but Antonio will get up and carry on. He's got a very strong mindset. Mikel Antonio, who's the goal scorer for West Ham tonight, as it's a throw-in on this near side on the halfway line for Leverkusen. Right centre half on the edge of the 18-yard box with Kasunu, who kicks it straight out of play for a throw-in. I mean, it's embarrassing to make changes really early, but he's struggling massively as Antonio and Tara tussling in the box as Edson Alvarez in the left wing position has to go back to Kudus, deflects into the corner flag, where he'll keep it in Kudus, and he'll deliver a great ball in, volleyed at the far post. What a save. Bowen coming in with the right-footed shot. He's been tripped on the far side, and he'll win the free kick. Kovar with a massive save. Such a good cross by Kudus. And on his own at the far post, Bowen volleyed with his right foot, but it was saved by the right foot of the goalkeeper of Kovar. And West Ham also almost level as David Moyes hit the deck in disbelief that his side didn't score there. But they have a free kick in the final third here in a right wing position. Bowen back in the team, back making the difference. He assisted the Antonio goal. Almost got on the score sheet himself there. But if Leverkusen are going to lose a game, it's going to be tonight. They're really under the cosh here. Brilliant start from West Ham. And it had to be a good start. We said it before the start of the game. They had to get off to a brilliant start. And they have. Cross goes in. Ward-Prowse all the way through to the far post. Headed away by Teller. Oh, as far as Cresswell. Back down the line to Kudus, who just put a brilliant ball in himself. He's got the ball here. Goes to the edge of the area to Alvarez. Time on the ball. He'll let fly, and that's always rising over the crossbar. He's annoyed with himself there, Edson Alvarez. And he'll go out for a Leverkusen goal kick. Brilliant game so far here in London, as we'll have a look at the other scores around the grounds in the Europa League quarter-finals. Roma are 2-0 up against AC Milan. So Roma now lead 3-0 on aggregate. So it does look like whichever side win tonight, they will take on Roma. As obviously Milan would have to make one hell of a comeback. Liverpool have one back themselves. A penalty from Mohamed Salah. We'll have a look at the Conference League as well. And I said that it can be embarrassing sometimes making early changes in games, but it does look like Xabi Alonso is going to bring on Edmund Tapsoba for Kasunu, who's on a yellow, and he's just looked so nervous. He's just looked, in all honesty, if we're going to be pretty blunt, he's looked rubbish. He's misplaced loads of passes. He's had an absolute horrid time against the likes of Kudus and Antonio when he's drifted a lot across to the left wing position. So it does look like they're going to make that change when the ball possibly next goes out of play. As Kovar, the Leverkusen goalkeeper, goes long, headed on by Schick, but he can't find Teller. Cresswell goes back to Soufal, who then heads it to Fabianski, who won't pick it up. He's got loads of time here on the ball, but he does have the option of picking it up if needs be. As Aston Villa, in their quarter-final in the Conference League against Lille, they are on penalties, and they're 1-0 up on penalties. Lille missed, and Tielemans scored. So Aston Villa currently lead on penalties at the moment. As we're back in focus on this game, and it's Ward-Prowse going to the halfway line, out to the right here to Soufal, finds Alvarez, then forward to Ward-Prowse, finding Bowen, then to Souček in a central area for West Ham, works it out to the left here to Kudus, takes on Teller, Kudus, options out left to Cresswell, he's all alone, he takes the touch, he crosses, stuck up to the back post where it's headed on by Ward-Prowse, and it'll be a free kick that goes against him. Looks like Ward-Prowse has picked up a head injury, possibly where the Free kick's gone against him. It's going to be an early change. You never like to see it, but sometimes you don't want a game to get away from you. And that's what Xabi Alonso's doing. Within 28 minutes, Odilon Kasunu is replaced by Edmund Tapsoba. Kasunu straight down the tunnel. And after celebrating the Bundesliga title at the weekend, he's now completely hit rock bottom, brought off early here at West Ham. He's on a yellow card and he's just not looked comfortable. So you've got to respect Xabi Alonso for making such a big call. You know, Kasunu didn't start the first leg, Tapsoba did, and Tapsoba played well. I'm surprised. In all honesty, when I saw he was on the bench, I was rather surprised, but he's on now, so an early change for Leverkusen as Alvarez takes the ball off Wirtz. Prowse slides in there on Xhaka and fouls him. No yellow card, just a free kick. So Kasunu off the Ivorian for the Burkina Faso international of Edmund Tapsoba, who had started the last 5 in the Europa League. Was put to the bench today, but now he's on. He's going to take this free kick as tempers are starting to flare on the sidelines here between the two sets of coaches. This game is really starting to heat up and I like it. On the pitch and off the pitch, it's all getting a little bit fiery. Handbags are out. And I think an important thing... red card here on the benches. So red card from one of the West Ham staff. And that is going to be Billy McKinlay, who's sent off. And now on the pitch, it's flaring up. Here we go. This is football. This is what we miss. I'm sorry if I'm being a bit old school, but it's all getting out of hand here. No one seems to be able to settle it down off the pitch and on it. And I think an important thing to take away, I was just about to mention it, Leverkusen haven't lost all season. They're not used to this. They're so used to being the team on top, the team dominating the team, just simply winning games. And now tonight it's not going in their favour. They don't like it. And it's showing. West Ham are getting under their skin here. And if you had to put your money on a team going through, you'd probably be looking at West Ham here. They're getting it all right. Yellow card shown for Antonio Intar, who I'm presuming started the kerfuffle on the pitch there. Antonio won't mind the booking. Tar will. At the back, centre back. You don't really want to be on a booking usually. But there's definitely red cards on the bench there. For Billy McKinlay of West Ham and one of the coaching staff for Leverkusen. Couldn't quite pick up his initials, so I didn't quite see who that was. And then it all started on the pitch as obviously we're waiting for the free kick to be taken as they were just settling down what was going on off the pitch. Antonio's tried to kick the ball away. I'm not sure why, presuming to try and cause something like that, try and get under the skin of the Leverkusen players. And it's worked, it all kicked off, and we're now back underway here. With Leverkusen on the ball, near side, Palacios goes back to Tapsoba, then back once more to Kovar. Antonio will chase it, Kovar will clear it first time, beyond the halfway line. Agurd wins the header on Schick, but straight to Grimaldo, who can't quite keep it away from Souček in the centre circle. Now out to the right here to Soufal, who will go down over the challenger Wirtz, and he'll win the free kick. Well won there by Vladimir Soufal. And it's now with Cresswell at left back for West Ham. If you are new, make sure you please like and subscribe if you have not already. Fantastic game so far we've had here. As it's West Ham with Alvarez, who kicks it into the end, kicks it backwards here. Schick being held back by Zuma, and nothing given, surprising. Eventually drops to the edge of the box to Alvarez, who goes back to Fabianski, who then kicks it out with a pass to Soufal at right back. Surprised Schick wasn't given a foul there, because Zuma was all over him, but West Ham won't complain. It's on the far side with Souček. Goes back to the edge of the box here to Zuma. Plays it forward to Ward-Prowse. He's allowed to turn. And he plays it out to the left here to Cresswell. He turns forward himself. Plays a ball down the line. Can't find Kudus. But he'll get onto the end of the heavy touch from Stanisic. And Kudus will drive inside. Pulled back by Teller. And that's a free kick given. Teller not happy. Neither's Xabi Alonso. But West Ham have the free kick. And it's a crossfield ball by Agerd. Finding Bowen, he brings it down, but I don't think the referee was ready for the game to get back underway, so I think it's going to have to be a retake for West Ham. It's just in front of the halfway line on the near side. As they go long up towards Antonio, drifted out to the left, he holds it up against Tapsoba. It's now a Cresswell in the final third. Plays it to Kudus. Tackle by Stanisic, and he kicks it off Kudus. And that'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen. It's actually a free kick instead, not quite sure what for, as we've got 11 minutes of the first 45 to play. And then West Ham are very deserved of their current one-goal lead in the game. They do trail by a goal on aggregate, as Kovar takes the free kick, goes long, nodded down by Schick to Teller, returns it to Schick, who loses out to Alvarez, pulls down the Mexican as well. So it's a free kick for West Ham, just in front of their 18-yard box, taken quickly, and it's now with Zuma. Go to the right back of Soufal, midway inside his own half. He goes for a high ball over the top. He'll be given chase to by Bowen. Tar heads away. Only finds Ward-Prowse on the right-hand side. Lays it off for Bowen, who can drive onto his left foot. Crosses it low. Through to Antonio. He just misses it. And into the gloves of Kovar. Seems like the second goal is getting ever closer for West Ham. Another delightful ball by Bowen. This time Antonio couldn't quite get on the end of it as Ward-Prowse tackles Hincapié. And that'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen. Such a good ball there from Bowen. Antonio was stretching, but couldn't quite reach it, and it was well held in the end by Kovar. As the West Ham supporters are certainly liking what they're seeing here. As it's with the captain, Jonathan Tah for Leverkusen, inside his own half. Bringing it forward from that central centre-back position. Plays it to his right here to Tapsoba, who's exactly on the halfway line himself. Forward and out to the right to Stanisic. Back to Tapsoba. Into the midfield to Xhaka. Taking his time on the ball here. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham, bar Antonio. It's with Xhaka, 1-2 with Tapsoba. Forward to Schick, lays it off for Xhaka. Through for Teller, who tried to make the running behind, but it's cut out by Zuma. And he clears away with the left foot. Up towards Antonio. Header won there by Tar. Drops towards Alvarez, and Agerd is in some pain here. The Moroccan needs medical attention here. I think West Ham are going to ready a change. They are very light in terms of their centre-back options. Mavropanos out of the squad completely tonight. They do have the very experienced Angelo Ogbonna, who's now at the age of 35. Tapsoba played the ball into Schick, and as Agerd went in to tackle him, he just, I think, landed awkwardly on his left foot. There was no foul from Schick. If anything, it was Agerd making the tackle on Schick. Obviously, it's just the way that maybe Agerd maybe just jarred his ankle there as he put his foot to the floor. So as we've got a stoppage in play, we'll just go through the other scorelines. Roma are 2-0 up against AC Milan, 3-0 up on aggregate. But Roma have had a man sent off, Zeki Celik. So even though they have a 3-goal lead, they are down to 10. So it's meant Lukaku has been substituted for... Oh no, apologies. They haven't took anyone off. Lukaku has come off, but for Tammy Abraham. So like for like there. So obviously they've not replaced the sent-off right-back. And the winner of Roma, AC Milan, do play the winners of this game in the semi-final. So that's definitely one we'll keep an eye on. Agerd is back to his feet, just hobbling slightly off the pitch. Liverpool still lead 1-0, but of course trail 3-1 on aggregate. And Marseille, Benfica is 0-0. Benfica lead that one 2-1 on aggregate. And Aston Villa are through to the Conference League semi-final. They won 4-3 on penalties against Lille. So fantastic result for the English sides, as the English sides have been doing not very good in this week's European football. Of course, Arsenal and Manchester City both knocked out yesterday. It's back underway here. It's on the far side with Leverkusen in their own half here with Hincapié. Not quite sure if Agüerd's back on the pitch yet. Can't quite see it. Hincapié sends it down the line. Cut out by Soufal. Agüerd is back on the pitch for West Ham. Soufal into the midfield to Alvarez. Can turn. He's looking out wide left. Alvarez falls over, but back to his feet. And Alvarez can get it forward with the help of Kudus, who then takes over. Kudus marauding forward on his left foot. Edge of the box. He can't be stopped. What a run. Kudus feeds out to the left to Cresswell. Brilliant work from the former Ajax attacker. As West Ham can attack themselves here. Cresswell forced to go back to Souček. And it's now with Zuma out to the right to Soufal. Midway side his own in the Leverkusen half here. He goes out to the right with Bowen. Everything to his left. Finds Ward-Prowse. Returns it to Bowen. He's looking for the option. He'll switch it out to the left here to Cresswell. Controls nicely with his left boot. And crosses in with the left boot. Straight to Antonio. His header boxed off Hincapié. And hooked away by Stanisic. It comes off Kudus. And out for a Leverkusen ball. Every time that ball goes in the box in the air, you just feel like Antonio's going to win every header. He won that one, but it was blocked off the shoulder of Hincapié. And it's Leverkusen on the ball. Stanisic clears it. Up to Vert. They find him in a pocket of space, but his touch is loose. Gives it away to Cresswell. It's now with Bowen. His touch isn't great either. And he loses that to Grimaldo in the end. And it's now with the Spanish fullback. Midway side zone half on the far side. Brings it into Palacios in the midfield. Time on the ball here for the Argentine. World Cup winner. Was part of that squad that won the World Cup in Qatar. It's now with Edmund Tapsoba off the bench early for Kasunu, who was brought off for a poor performance and the fact he was also on a booking. Finds it forward to Teller. It's now with Stanisic into the midfield here of Palacios. Works it to Xhaka. Into the centre circle now to Hincapié. Works it out wide to the left to Grimaldo. Midway side the West Ham half. Works it into Xhaka. Loads of time on the ball here for the former Arsenal midfielder. Still on the ball, Xhaka. Out to the left to Grimaldo. Can just about keep the ball in. Had to backtrack slightly. And he goes into the Leverkusen half here to Hincapié. Now with the middle centre half of Tar. Across to the right to Tapsoba. Brings it forward. Plays the pass straight to Cresswell, who can get it to Kudus. Chops away from Teller. 1-2 with Cresswell. He's now back with Agüerd, who can take on Schick. It's now Alvarez on halfway. Time on the ball here for the Mexican. He's going to go for a crossfield pass. Looking for Bowen, who loses out aerially to Hincapié. Then off the head of Wirtz to Grimaldo, who beats Souček to it, and he plays it across to the right to Teller. There's a run being made in behind on the left-hand side by Wirtz, and Teller will find him. Here is Florian Wirtz. 1-on-1 with Soufal. Edge of the box, overruns the touch. Tackled by Souček. Brilliant work from West Ham's number 28. It's West Ham on the ball. In their defensive third with Zuma. Forward to Alvarez. To the right back of Soufal. Forward to Ward-Prowse. Lays it off for Souček, who's out wide. Down the line for Antonio. Tripped by Tar. Nothing given by the referee. Ball eventually worked back to Souček. And it's now with Fabianski in the centre in the 18-yard box. Quickly fires it out to the left-hand side here to Cresswell. Lays it back off to Agüerd. And it's West Ham in possession inside their own half. If you are new, make sure you like and subscribe. Takes 2 seconds. I hope you are enjoying this live commentary of this Europa League last date second leg between West Ham and Leverkusen. 1-0 currently. Goal in the 13th minute from Mikel Antonio. A header from a Bowen cross. It's been a really good first 42 minutes from David Moyes' side. Still with West Ham, inside their own half of Alvarez. Plays it to the left to Agüerd. To Alvarez again. Across to the right to Souček. He's got Soufal furthest right. Goes forward to Bowen instead. Who can lay it off to Soufal. Forward himself toward Prowse. Can't flick it for Bowen. Hincapié intercepts and plays it forward himself to Xhaka. Finds Palacios. Xhaka again. Back to Tar on the edge of the box. Forward to Palacios. It's a loose ball. Picked up by Alvarez. 25 yards out. Plays it to the right to Bowen. Keeps it away from Hincapié. Bowen to Cresswell. Outside the 18-yard box. Down the line to Kudus. Towards the byline. Crosses it in. Bowen misses it. Antonio controls it. Falls to Alvarez. Shoots off Antonio. Deflects to Soufal, who shoots towards goal himself. And straight down the throat of Kovar. Such a huge opportunity for West Ham. Almost finding the equaliser on aggregate. Alvarez with the best chance of the lot there. Shooting the ball onto his own player. Antonio was the one in the way. But they've got to try and continue this sort of performance the whole way through, West Ham. They've got the tactics right tonight. Simply part of the bus last week to try and keep the scoreline as low as possible. And this time, in this second leg, they decide to attack this Leverkusen side. Teller out to the right to Stanisic in the final third for Leverkusen. He's been made to go backwards here due to the lack of options in front of him. All the way back to Jonathan Tah, just inside the Leverkusen half. Forward to Xhaka, not seeing the pressure from Bowen, and he loses the possession. Kudus now, he's got Ward-Prowse ahead of him on the left. Kudus wants to go on his own. It deflects through to Antonio. Lays it off for Ward-Prowse, who will cross it off Tapsoba. And it will be a throw-in for West Ham United. Really good performance. This is vintage West Ham, this. This is what you like to see. This kind of performance. Using the advantage of having the home support this week. Playing more of their game, more of their style. Alvarez, 22 yards out to the left side of the box, has to turn backwards. He's been closed down by Wirtz, then tripped by Palacios. And it's a free kick for West Ham. One South American foul and another. To be fair, that Alvarez shot could have been going into the bottom right corner, but Antonio was in the way. Not really much Antonio could have done, in all honesty. But they'll have to forget about that chance. As we're going to have 5 added on minutes here at the London Stadium. Ward-Prowse and Cresswell stood over it. It's just to the left side of the Leverkusen half, about 30 yards out, 2-man wall. So it's probably going to be a cross hit. Cresswell can certainly cross them with the left foot. I think they will go with the left-footed option. Yeah, Ward-Prowse goes away. It's going to be an outswinger from the left boot of Cresswell. As we are into added on time in this first half, Cresswell delivers it. It's a powerful one, straight behind for a goal kick. You knew as soon as that left his boot, he'd overhit that one, Aaron Cresswell. Souček was trying to get onto it at the far post, but like I say, overhit there by the experienced left-back. Oh, and Agurd's gone down again. I don't think he can continue. He injured his left foot, possibly left ankle, in a challenge with Schick about 5 minutes or so ago. And he's obviously tried to run it off, and it's not been happening for him. So it does look like Naif Agurd will be replaced here by the experienced Angelo Ogbonna. Definitely not a change West Ham would have wanted to have made. So both teams have made changes at centre-half. Leverkusen's was not forced. It was done by Xabi Alonso, as Kasunu was on a yellow card and performing rather poorly. But this one has been forced by West Ham. Agurd off with what seems to be possibly an ankle injury. And he'll be replaced by Angelo Ogbonna, who's making just his 13th appearance of the season. It's his first in the Europa League since the game week 3 of the group stage. They'll need a big performance by Angelo Ogbonna, who's coming up to 9 years at the club, making just his 6th ever Europa League appearance. Made 3 for Juventus in the 2013-2014 season. So back underway. Tah heads away for Leverkusen, straight to Soufal, who can head it into Souček. Then a ball over the top into the box here, looking for Bowen. Headed away by Tah. Can't be kept in by Hincapié. And that'll be a throw-in for West Ham in the final third on the far side. They possibly might go for a bit of a longer throw-in here, trying to get it into the 18-yard box, as we've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds to be precise of added on time in the first half. The Zoomers up for this throw-in. and Ogbonna. So they're going to go long. Soufal throws up towards Ogbonna. Header won by Tar instead. Put back in the box with the head of Ward-Prowse. Flicked on by Zuma. Can't quite be put under control by Antonio. Dealt with by Stanisic. Put back forward by Ward-Prowse again. Header away by Hincapié. All as far as Soufal on the right wing, who gets out of his feet, goes for the cross, deflects off Wirtz. And it'll be another throw-in for West Ham again. So they might try and lock and load another long one into the box. Through Vladimir Soufal. Once again, Ogbonna's up there. Zuma, Souček, Antonio. So much aerial threat as Soufal throws it in. Header away by Tar again. It drops to the edge of the box here to Kudus. Got Teller for company. Keeps it away from Teller for now. Kudus going down the line. Brilliant run. And he delivers off Teller. And that'll be a corner. Teller's gone down as he was able to block that cross. And as he blocked the cross, possibly maybe come off his hand there. Maybe hurt his hand, hurt his wrist, possibly. Not too sure, but his ball carrying, Mohamed Kudus, is so impressive. I think it deflects off his left ankle, his left foot there, and it might have just knocked his left ankle a bit there, Nathan Teller. But he should be okay. He's definitely been the closest to scoring for Leverkusen. Fired a shot towards the top left corner early on in the half. But it was saved by Fabianski. Cross goes in. Ward-Prowse on the goalkeeper who can punch it. Still in the 18-yard box. Hooked away by Palacios. Controlled by Grimaldo. Forward to Wirtz. Tackled strongly by Ward-Prowse, but it deflects back to Grimaldo. Sets away Nathan Teller on the left-hand side. Counter-attacks on. Teller has it. West Ham, plenty of bodies back. That's really good. So many bodies back. Everyone's back because Leverkusen have to slow it down on the left-hand side. We've played the 5 minutes of added on time here. Just waiting for the referee's whistle as we might get a bit more time added on possibly due to the substitution of Agerd. No, we will not. And it will be a half-time whistle blown by the referee, Jose Maria Sanchez. And we've had a very fiery clash between these two in the first 15 minutes of the first half. It was a lead that West Ham deserved. They took the lead 13 minutes in through Mikel Antonio. It was a cross in the box from Jared Bowen, who they've missed so dearly in the last two matches in the two defeats they fell to. He crossed it into the 6-yard box. Antonio beat the goalkeeper to it, headed it into the back of the net to give West Ham an early lead. And Leverkusen have not been able to play their usual game. They have had a chance at goal from afar, about 25 yards out. Nathan Teller, the one shooting towards goal, but it was a really strong save from Lucas Fabianski. We've had little tussles on the pitch, and we've also had them off the pitch. We've had some staff sent off from the sidelines for both West Ham and Leverkusen. We've also had pushing and shoving and emotions overflowing on the pitch as well, leading to Antonio and Tar being booked. But overall, it's definitely West Ham who've dominated the first half. They are ahead on the night. They do trail on aggregate. And here at the London Stadium at the moment, after the first half of the second leg, it is West Ham 1, Leverkusen 0. But on aggregate, it is West Ham 1, Leverkusen 2. A brilliant half of football. Much better than the entire game we got last week. Well worth the wait for this second leg. And it's West Ham who've dominated. Leverkusen have just had more of the ball, but just by the 10%. West Ham have had 45% of the ball, but when West Ham have had it, they've looked really dangerous. West Ham have been able to work 10 shots on goal, 5 on target. Leverkusen have had just that one shot from Nathan Teller, which, to be fair, wasn't a bad attempt at all. It was well saved by Fabianski, a long-range strike from Teller, going towards the top left corner. But Fabianski, on his 39th birthday, was equal to it. And I mentioned it during the first half, but if West Ham could have just kept it at 1-0, not conceded that late goal from Victor Boniface in the 91st minute in the first leg, they'd be level right now. But they obviously had a game plan for this tie, and it's working at the moment. Going for a more defensive setup in the first leg, away at Leverkusen, just trying to keep the score as low as possible, and they probably did keep it as low as they could, because Leverkusen definitely deserved the 2 goals. They were very good last week with their patterns of play. It was just a perfect performance, and they were able to get 2 goals. But West Ham tonight have come out of the blocks flying, got the crowd on board straight away. They've been rocking all night. Obviously, it does help with the fact they scored that early goal. And Leverkusen on the ropes here. You know, they haven't been beaten all season in any game of football. 38 wins, 5 draws, scoring 123, now conceding 30. This could be the first defeat of the season for them. The last time they lost a game, Leverkusen, was the last game of last season in the Bundesliga. They lost 3-0 away to Bochum on the 27th of May. So it's almost a year without a defeat. If you are leaving for half-time, make sure you come back for the second half, as it's going to be a very intriguing second half. That is for sure. In the other half-time scores in the Europa League, it is still Roma 2, AC Milan 0, 3-0 on aggregate for Roma, even though they do have 10 men at the moment. Zeki Celik sent off for Daniel De Rossi's side. Leverkusen, of course, trail 1-0 here against West Ham, but lead 2-1 on aggregate. Marseille Benfica still 0-0, but Benfica lead 2-1 on aggregate. And Liverpool lead 1-0 away at Atalanta through a Mohamed Salah penalty. Looks like they dominated on the stats, but it is still, of course, just the 3-1 to Atalanta after that 3-0 win at Anfield last week. A very shock result in that one. But it seems like Atalanta are doing enough at the moment to see that scoreline through, as the winner of this tie will take on either Roma or AC Milan. West Ham do need another goal. They've come close to the second one after they scored the first. Edson Alvarez had his own shot blocked from his own teammate of Antonio. That looked like that was going into the bottom right corner. Antonio had another header which was blocked by Hincapié. Kudus has had a shot blocked which almost deceived Kovar. They've had plenty of opportunities, but just the one goal so far. But you've got to remember, Bayer Leverkusen celebrated that first ever league title win on Sunday. And they're not at it today. Did they over-celebrate? I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, over-celebrating, but you know they've still got so much to play for. Of course, trying to stay in the Europa League tonight. They're in a cup final as well at the end of May. Just not quite at the speed they usually are, this Leverkusen side. West Ham have not allowed them to have their usual patterns of play that, of course, normally work for them so well. Because that's the thing with Leverkusen. They've got such a set structure with the way they play that if you can disrupt it, you can really affect their performance. You know, that's why with Leverkusen they can make so many changes, because even though they make changes in terms of the players, the style never changes. It's the same patterns, just different players who have all got pretty equal ability to do what Xabi Alonso is asking of them. So, you know, that's why they can make so many changes. You know, they made 6 changes from the league lineup against Werder Bremen at the weekend. They made 4 changes from the team that started last week against West Ham in the first leg as well. But half-time here, 1-0. And West Ham have got to keep this going. They cannot let this really positive first half go to waste because of a half-time break. They've got to really try and continue the same performance and the same momentum, taking them into the second half. Of course, if we're all level, after 90 minutes, it will go to extra time and then possibly penalty kicks. But that is looking very far ahead, of course. We've still got another 45 minutes left to play here. Like I say, if you haven't liked and subscribed already, make sure you please do. It really does help the channel out massively, as we have not got many English sides left in Europe. Aston Villa are through in the Conference League in the semi-final, into the semi-final. Arsenal, Manchester City knocked out last night. Liverpool looking like they could possibly be knocked out tonight as well at Atalanta. They have got it back to 3-1 in aggregate, but still a big ask for Liverpool against a very solid Atalanta side. But what a brilliant first half of football there by West Ham United. You know, someone they will definitely miss is Mikel Antonio whenever he decides to leave. He's, of course, 34 now, turned 34 at the end of last month. Scored his 80th West Ham goal tonight. It's his 5th of the season in all competitions for this campaign. But he's such a good talisman to have leading your line. He's not afraid to battle with the bullies that can occur at centre-back. He'll hold his own. He's still got the pace to running behind. He can work the channels as well. Doesn't mind putting that extra graft in. He's such a good player to have on your side, and they definitely miss him when he decides to leave West Ham, or possibly even retire, coming up to that age now, Mikel Antonio. Second half will be getting underway in a couple of minutes' time here at the London Stadium. A massive second half of football for West Ham, who had a massive setback in their European race in the Premier League. West Ham currently sitting 8th now after that defeat to Fulham. They are 2 points though off 6th, so it's very close for the top 6, but they didn't do themselves much favour losing to Fulham at the weekend. 2 goals from Andres Pereira. Let's just hope we get something similar in the second half. Like I say, the tensions were rising during that first half. You could see it at the beginning of the game, and you could just see it gradually continue to build. And like I say, it all erupted at one point where we had a West Ham coach sent off in Billy McKinley. Not sure anyone was sent off on Leverkusen's side, and then it all boiled over on the pitch as well, which I love to see. You know, a little bit of pushing and shoving, bit of emotion in the game. I think it's what you like to see. Didn't go over the top where it became, violent or no one was getting hurt. So that's the main thing. So, how can West Ham get themselves in front? It's just more of the same. They have been forced into one change already. Nayef Aguerd, the centre-back, had to be replaced right on the stroke of half-time for Angelo Ogbonna. He picked up an injury, the Moroccan, after challenging Patrick Schick to the ball. It looked like he just suffered an ankle problem as he went in for the challenge. So they have got the Italian on the pitch now, Angelo Ogbonna, very experienced, 35 years old, making his 245th West Ham appearance. He's only appeared in one of the last 13 games for West Ham in the Premier League, Ogbonna. So he's not exactly been playing regular football at the moment, but he's definitely a good character to have, a lot of experience after losing Mark Noble in recent seasons, and then losing more leadership with Declan Rice going to Arsenal in the summer. But Ogbonna won't be around forever either. I can imagine he's probably one of the players who might be off in the summer as well, with the expiry of his contract, or the expiration of his contract. So 2-1 on aggregate to Leverkusen. Even if they lose tonight, if they lose by 1, they are through, but it does mean their unbeaten run comes to an end. They are 43 games unbeaten at the moment, and I said this last week. I think the most impressive thing about the unbeaten run is they've drawn 5 games. They've won 38. That's incredible. You see a lot of unbeaten runs where they might draw quite a lot of games, but the fact that Leverkusen have just drawn 5 and won the other 38, I think it's absolutely incredible. And it's an amazing job that Xabi Alonso is doing, as he has said he will be remaining at Leverkusen for next season, possibly eyeing up the Real Madrid job that may become available soon, as it looks like Ancelotti's going to be moving on from Real Madrid shortly. Fantastic result for Real Madrid last night, not necessarily for the English side of the game, as of course it's important now in terms of the English teams to get European football is with the coefficient points. The coefficient points basically are added up through teams' performances in the European competition, so all the English teams do well, then England will get more coefficient points, and if they don't do well they'll get less. So the fact that there's 2 German sides in the Champions League semi-final, and they'll get some more coefficient points. So it's not great that English sides haven't done that well. It does mean there'll be less European spots available for the English sides in the Premier League, as it does look like we're going to get more changes here for Leverkusen on half-time. As we're back out for the second half here. I'll let you know of those changes when they are confirmed on screen. So it'll be Leverkusen to kick us off, kicking right to left. West Ham left to right here, as they have been the better side by a country mile, but they've got to continue that over into the second half now. As we are waiting for the referee's whistle of Jose Maria Sanchez, the 40-year-old Spanish referee who blows the whistle. And it's Leverkusen to kick off, going long through kick-off with Tapsoba looking for Boniface, the substitute. Headed away for West Ham. Last touch off Hincapié, throwing for West Ham. So it looks like the change has been made as Soufal throws it long down the right-hand side. Antonio will chase it. He'll go outside the 18-yard box, where it goes into the box now with the pass to Kovar, the goalkeeper. Kicks it forward. It's not gone very long, though. Straight to Alvarez, who chests it forward for West Ham. And then plays it out to the left to Cresswell. Down the left-hand side. Kudus can't quite get away from Stanisic, but it comes off the Croatian last. And it's a throw-in for West Ham, as it looks like the change is Patrick Schick off. So striker for striker. Schick off for Boniface, and Boniface did score last week. And it looks like they made a double change. I think Nathan Teller's off as well for Jeremy Frimpong. As for Leverkusen, Boniface holding it up, tackled by Zuma. Thought he'd won the ball. Referee thinks otherwise. Free kick for Leverkusen. And they want to attack quickly, bringing it down the right-hand side. Beyond the halfway line with Xhaka. Goes forward towards Frimpong. Deflects off the hand of Souček. So it'll be a free kick for Leverkusen. So yeah, 2 changes. Schick and Teller off for Boniface and Frimpong. So Leverkusen have already made 3 changes in the game in 2 stoppages. So they've only got 1 more chance to make changes. As we've got back underway with the free kick being taken through Xhaka. Forward to Wirtz. He's got Frimpong to his right, and he'll find Frimpong in the final third. Played it backwards here to Stanisic. Been forced to go backwards here into the centre circle now with Tapsoba, who will dribble the ball forward. Looking for the pass. Eventually gets to Xhaka through Palacios. Swung out wide to the right side here to Frimpong. He's going to run at Cresswell. Can't get away from Kudus though, who helps his full back out. And Cresswell will eventually clear it. Up toward Prowse, who flicks on to Antonio. Tries to play it back out to the left toward Prowse. Overhit. And a throw in it will be just inside their own half here for Leverkusen. On the far side. As we're just almost 2.5 minutes into the second half. Leverkusen have made changes and they found themselves on the ball more early on. Stanisic on the far side for Leverkusen. Again, having to go backwards here to Tar. He then has to clear forward, and he can't find a teammate. Deflects off Cresswell. Throwing for Leverkusen. Beat Frimpong to the ball there. Aaron Cresswell. He's been sent off twice in this competition, in the quarter-final and the semi-final, back in the 21-22 season. 2 of 3 red cards he's had in his West Ham career for Cresswell. As Boniface on halfway, tries to hold it up away from Ogbonna, and he keeps it away from the Italian and kicks it out to his right to Stanisic. Forward to Frimpong, can't quite keep it under control. Cleared by Cresswell. It stays in the pitch as Tar will go across to keep the ball. Well, it actually has gone out, so it'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen on halfway. With Josip Stanisic in his pink boots. Looking to throw it down the line if possible towards the West Ham goal. He will do just that, but he throws it straight to Cresswell, who volleys it away. Controlled on halfway though by Palacios. Xhaka, misplaced pass, straight to Bowen in the centre circle, who can't get away from Hincapié. Brilliant tackle from the Ecuadorian. It's now back with Leverkusen with Xhaka. Forward to Wirtz beyond the halfway line. In between the lines, it's Florian Wirtz. Just to the right hand side, he plays it across to the left, looking for Boniface. Cut out by Zuma. Good defending by the West Ham captain, as Antonio can hold it up away from Hincapié. And Antonio will bring it forward. Has to hold it up, and he plays it back here to Soufal. Lifts it forward to Souček. Goes beyond the halfway line. Antonio back to Soufal. And then down the line for Souček, who's continued his run down this near side. Controls it well. And then plays it inside, looking for Bowen. Tackle by Tar. It's now with Grimaldo in the left-back position towards the corner flag. Can't quite get the clearance off Bowen. And it's a throw-in for West Ham, right next to the corner flag on this near side. Really good closing down there by Jared Bowen. Who's looking for his 60th West Ham goal of his career. Soufal throws it into the box. It's a long throw straight to the hands of the goalkeeper, Kovar. Confident goalkeeper, and he throws it out quickly to Frimpong, and the counter-attack is on. Frimpong into the West Ham half. He's got the overlap of Stanisic. Frimpong's got Wirtz in the box. He'll aim for Wirtz. He finds him. Wirtz with the shot first time. Can't catch it right. Slices it high and wide. Just never seemed confident as that ball was coming towards him there, Florian Wirtz, which you wouldn't expect for a man who's scored 17 goals in all competitions so far this season. Scored a hat-trick at the weekend against Werder Bremen off the bench. It was his first ever hat-trick in his professional career. But just never seemed confident as that was firing towards him. West Ham do need to be careful of that counter, though, when they have set pieces high up the pitch. West Ham have a throw-in just inside their own half here on the far side. It'll be taken by Aaron Cresswell. Once of England, Aaron Cresswell. 3 caps to his name. Back in 2016 and 2017, respectively. As we've got 6 minutes played in this second half. It's West Ham who still trail on aggregate. As Bowen has it in his own half, driving into a more central area. Tackled fairly by Hincapié. No, free kick given. I thought he'd got the ball there. And West Ham quickly get the ball moving to the left centre half of Ogbonna. It's now a Cresswell. Driving inside, playing it to his right here to Alvarez. Still in the West Ham half. It's now with Zuma. On the ball. No real press from Leverkusen in terms of putting the man on the ball under much pressure. Alvarez out to the right to Soufal. Wants to go forward, will go forward. Falls over from the challenge from Grimaldo. And that is a free kick for West Ham on this near side. It seemed that Xabi Alonso thought that was a bit of a cheap one to give. So the Spanish referee will have a word with Xabi Alonso, just telling him to settle down. Xabi Alonso, age 42 now. As West Ham go long, headed away by Tar. Drops here to Alvarez, just in front of the halfway line. Finds Souček, who can look for the pass forward. Looks for Antonio, who's been held up there by Tapsoba. But no free kick given. He's been told to get back up there. Mikel Antonio trying to spin off the Leverkusen centre-back. And he's brought to the ground. But no free kick was given in the end. As it's now with Leverkusen on this near side in their own half with Hincapié. Who goes back here to Edmund Tapsoba. 25-year-old centre-half. Xhaka forward to Wirtz, again getting in between the lines on the halfway line, and he fires it out to the left. It's a great ball into the path of Grimaldo. In the final third, Grimaldo's got Soufal in front of him. He'll go to the edge of the box to Wirtz. Tries to get onto his left foot, but he's been tackled by Souček. Prods it forward for Antonio. Can't quite beat Hincapié to it. And it's now back with Leverkusen. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham as it's on the halfway line with Tapsoba. Stanisic bringing it inside from right back and finding Palacios. Loads of time on the ball for the Argentine in the centre circle. Plays it 10 yards to his left with a pass to Hincapié. Grimaldo lays it backwards here for Palacios as Leverkusen keep possession for now. Grimaldo. Hincapié. 1-2. Back with Grimaldo. Sliding challenge from Soufal, who wanted the goal kick, but he'll be the corner instead. He concedes. Soufal thinking that there was a touch there off Grimaldo. Referee didn't see it that way. So it's a corner kick on this near side for Leverkusen. It looks like it'll be an outswinger from Grimaldo. Outswinger near post. Header away by Souček for West Ham. Bowen will chase it, but it'll be Leverkusen to get there first, and they go all the way back to the goalkeeper of Kovar. Sends it forward. Straight to Ogbonna, who lets it go over his head for Fabianski to collect. And it's with the Hammers in possession. Apologies. It's now on the edge of the box with Angelo Ogbonna. Not scored since October 2021, Ogbonna. His last 3 West Ham goals have all come away from home. It's now a Fabianski in the 18-yard box in a green kit tonight in the West Ham goal. It's now back with Ogbonna, who can look for Cresswell at left back. And here is Aaron Cresswell back into Ogbonna in the defensive third for West Ham. Leverkusen shutting down the space as well here. 10 minutes into the second half, still 1-0 West Ham on the night. Zuma goes long, down the right-hand side. Antonio will get there ahead of Tapsoba and keeps it in towards the byline. Antonio holding it up. Lack of options around him. As Antonio's tripped, got to be a free kick. How's that not a free kick? It's been a goal kick instead. That is just really bad refereeing without using foul language. It's so clearly a trip. How's that not a free kick? I mean, I'm not a West Ham fan, so I'm not emotionally invested in that way, but how's that not a free kick? Kudas crosses as Leverkusen lose possession, who's aiming towards Bowen, but it was a good header away there by Tapsoba. And now Leverkusen can break down the right-hand side here. Frimpong, Wirtz making a run off Ogbonna, and he'll be found here, Wirtz, in the area. Pulls it back for Boniface on the edge of the box. Back heels it towards Frimpong. Cut out by Zuma, played forward by Zuma. Bowen keeps it away from Hincapié and finds Ward-Prowse to his left. And West Ham can try and get forward slowly. Kudas on halfway, on the far side. Trying to keep the ball away from Stanisic. Plays a ball to his right here to Alvarez, who will bring it forward himself here. It's now with Soufal. Back to Zuma on halfway. It's now in the centre circle with Souček. Time on the ball here. It's now out to the left to Kudas. Towards the final third. He wants to run at Stanisic if possible. Goes back and across instead to Souček. It's now Alvarez. Everyone behind the ball for Leverkusen. It's now with Zuma. Out to the right-hand side. We go now to Soufal. Bowen skips away from Hincapié. Trying to get in between him and Grimaldo, but he's been sandwiched and he's lost the ball there, Bowen. It's now with Grimaldo, who goes down the line to Boniface. Met with a strong challenge by Zuma. Free kick for Leverkusen. Well won there by the Nigerian, who's come off the bench again tonight for Leverkusen in this tie. Was knocked out of the Europa League himself last season. Victor Boniface, his previous club, Union Saint-Gilloise. So we're back underway. Leverkusen on the ball. Midway inside their own half with Xhaka, who's allowed to take it on the turn. Then plays it forward and out to the right here to Wirtz. Bit of time on the ball here for the 20-year-old. Finds Xhaka again. It's now with Boniface. Xhaka. Forward to Wirtz, just to the right-hand side. Touches loose again, but he can keep away from Alvarez. But then loses out to Kudus. But the play goes back here as Alvarez was caught there by Florian Wirtz. It's not been quite his night so far for the number 10, as he just trod on Alvarez. Actually scored a hat-trick at the weekend, Florian Wirtz. He is joint leading scorer for Leverkusen in the Bundesliga now, with that hat-trick. And he's their leading scorer in all competitions. There's West Ham on the ball inside their own half here, with James Ward-Prowse, their number 7. Just 1 assist in his last 14 in the Premier League and 1 goal in his last 11. And that was the goal straight from the corner against Wolves in their last victory. Just 1 win in their last 6 for West Ham in all competitions. As they go long and in behind, Antonio wants to chase it, but he's being held back by Tapsoba. And he'll roll behind for another goal kick. Antonio not happy. It feels like Edmund Tapsoba was being a bit too physical there, but the referee was having none of it. It just seems like a bit of both for me. Both have got arms wrapped around each other. As Leverkusen play out from the back. Ogbonna on halfway. Forward and in behind. Down the right side. Hincapié will get there, but Bowen's going to try and pounce on the loose touch. Bowen gets it off him. Shoots across goal. It's a really poor shot. He'll actually be kept in front of the corner flag by Kudus on the far side, who will recycle the ball back in. It's a deep cross. Bowen heads it towards goal and caught by Kovac. Best chance of the half so far for West Ham. And Bowen should probably have scored. It was a hopeful ball in behind again. Hincapié couldn't deal with it for Leverkusen. Bowen took it off him and he dragged the shot well wide of his right foot. As Leverkusen come forward in the final third, Frimpong, the substitute, goes to the edge of the area to Palacios. It's now with Wirtz, 20 yards from goal. Out to the left here to Grimaldo. And then back to Wirtz again on the edge. He's got Souček in front of him. Goes to his right here to Palacios. Wirtz. It's now back with Jonathan Tah. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham. Bar Bowen. And then they go back here to Tapsoba. Now everyone's behind the ball for West Ham. Number 12 for Leverkusen, Tapsoba. Goes to his right here to Tah, still on the halfway line. It's now with Stanisic on the far side. Forced to go back to Tah. Good pressing here from West Ham. Now with Tapsoba. Bringing the ball across towards the left-hand side. Forward to Wirtz. Lays it off for Hincapié. Keeps it away from Soufal. And that'll be a foul. Just in front of the halfway line. Soufal getting a talking to from the referee. What a chance from Bowen. Such a hopeful ball, but Hincapié took a touch towards his own goal and then fell to the ground. Bowen took it off him, dragged the shot wide. It was almost like a cross. It was that bad of a shot. There was players running onto it for West Ham, but couldn't get on the end of it. Of course, Jared Bowen, that match winner in the Conference League final last year against Fiorentina. He's already got 6 more goals this season than he did in the entirety of last season in all competitions. If he scores tonight, it will be 20 in all competitions. 10 of them have been at home, 9 of them have been away. You might remember he scored in West Ham's first 6 away games of the Premier League season, which was a new record. As Grimaldo tried to find Frimpong in behind. He may have been offside, but it's been intercepted by Alvarez, and we will continue with play as Alvarez lifts it out to the left to Kudus. Good control. Then into the space here for Antonio, who will keep it in on the left-hand side. Running at Xhaka in the final third. There's a couple of bodies in the box. Antonio plays the pass backwards, though, to Alvarez. On once more to the right flank here to Soufal, who will get there ahead of Grimaldo. Souček takes over. He'll cross it in. It's a good ball, but no one's attacking it for West Ham. Caught by Kovac, rolled out by the goalkeeper to Tapsoba, and Leverkusen want to go from defence to attack almost immediately, and Tapsoba's still bringing the ball forward, and he plays it out to the left to Boniface, who for some reason does a 360 turn, completely slows down the attack, but then picks up the speed as he looks for a pass there to Wirtz. Comes off Zuma, straight to Palacios, and it's still Leverkusen on the ball. Midway inside the West Ham half, then forced backwards to the halfway line now with Tapsoba. Hope you are all enjoying this live commentary is West Ham still need that goal, but Leverkusen are losing a game of football, which doesn't happen very often. Leverkusen still on the ball on the halfway line, as in the other Europa League games, it is Liverpool who still lead just by 1 on the night. They need a few more than that, as Xhaka brings it forward for Leverkusen. Out to the right to Frimpong, goes backwards to Stanisic, 25 yards from goal. Goes 5 yards here to Xhaka, who then clips it to the left to Hincapié. Controls it well and keeps it away from Soufal. Plays a ball to the right to Palacios, forward to Grimaldo. Now to Wirtz in the box. Goes to the left here to Hincapié. Backwards to Palacios. They're frustrating Leverkusen here, West Ham, with their press. Struggling to find many spaces in the box, the German side. It's on the halfway line here with Palacios. Does have time on the ball here, and he'll bring it forward. Palacios has it, lays it off for Wirtz. Bit of a short ball. Kudus intercepts, but drops to Tar. 1-2 with Boniface. It's now with Xhaka. Quickly goes to the right here to Wirtz, who's on the edge of the box here. Lays it off to his right for Frimpong. Just outside the box at the moment. Tries to go down the line. Beats Cresswell. Can't get around Alvarez. Frimpong tries to win it back, but Kudus keeps it and flicks it over him and tries to burst beyond him, but Frimpong wins it back quite fairly. Some good battling here. And it's Leverkusen who eventually come out with the ball. Frimpong in the area this time, angles tight, puts it across, it deflects, and it's cleared by the right foot of Soufal. Straight to Xhaka, so Leverkusen can try and come again at the West Ham defence. It's on this near side of Hincapié. Tries to lift it down the line, but it deflects off Soufal. And it's a throw in for Leverkusen, taken quickly and thrown backwards here to Tapsoba. Inside to Xhaka, who's got options left and right. Goes to his right to Wirtz, edge of the box, wants to let fly. Goes against that and goes to Frimpong, who will cross it instead to the far post to Hincapié, who can touch, but he can't shoot because Bowen's took it off him. And it'll be Soufal on the corner flag to keep it in, and he plays it to his left to Bowen. And West Ham are back on the ball. Bowen sends it forward. High ball towards Antonio. On the floor he is. Pulled down, but the referee, of course, doesn't give anything. And it's back with Leverkusen, as Souček's ball went straight to Tar on halfway. Antonio again in disbelief that he's not won a free kick. Stanisic brings it forward. Lays it off to his right to Frimpong, who will cross it with pace. And it's actually a shot that's just been beaten away for a corner. Frimpong tried to catch out Fabianski, who's had to make 2 vital saves tonight. One in the first half from Teller and one on the second. I'm not sure if that is a shot or a misdirected cross, but either way, it was almost a goal for Leverkusen, which could have killed the tie-off. Fabianski's kept him in it. He made some really good saves last week as well, the 39-year-old. Cross goes in. Header won at the near post by Alvarez. And it's back out for another corner on that far side for Leverkusen. He'll be taken by Grimaldo. It's a deeper one this time towards Jonathan Tah. Goes off the back of himself and out for a goal kick. Not scored in this competition before. Jonathan Tah, 42nd appearance in the competition. He has got 4 goals in the Bundesliga. His last in the middle of January against RB Leipzig. Couldn't quite divert that one on target this time around. So West Ham on the ball, in their own half. Down the middle of the pitch with Alvarez, goes to his right to Zuma. It's now with Soufal. It's now with Souček. And then back to Zuma as West Ham keep possession of the ball here. Back with Fabianski as Leverkusen have definitely improved their press in the second half. Definitely forcing West Ham to have more of the ball in their own half. Fabianski forward, goes long down the right hand side. Header won by Hincapié straight to Soufal, who loses out to Grimaldo, kicks out of touch, and it'll be a throw in for West Ham. I think it's very important to note as well that everyone on the back 4, in the back 5 for West Ham, including the goalkeeper, are 29 and above. Fabianski's 39 tonight. Soufal's 31. Zuma's 29, the youngest. Ogbonna, who came on as a sub, 35. Cresswell's 34. So it's a very old, possibly so slow back four, but very experienced. As we've had a change. And Grimaldo, who's not quite been the Grimaldo that we've expected, that we've seen all season in terms of statistics and goals, not quite been as dangerous tonight. He's been replaced by Leverkusen's number 21 of Amin Adli, who I thought was one of their better players last week in the first leg, but he was put on the bench for tonight, but he's on now, the Moroccan. So Grimaldo off for Adli, as it's Kudus on the ball, dispossessed by Tapsoba, and Leverkusen come again in the West Ham half. Out to the left to Boniface, on once more to Adli, fresh off the bench in the final third, running at Soufal in the box, onto his right foot, playing it through towards Wirtz, cut out there by Souček. And Ward-Prowse on the edge of the area, fouled by Adli. Free kick for West Ham. Less than a quarter of the game to go now. West Ham running out of time. They've not had as many good chances as they did in the first half. But just one more chance, and we could have extra time here at the London Stadium. As West Ham go long again, but it's so misdirected. It's towards nobody down the middle of the pitch. Back with the goalkeeper of Kovar for Leverkusen, who sends it to the right here to Stanisic. Still in the Leverkusen half here with Xhaka. Tackled by Kudus, but it's a foul, I think, on Xhaka from Souček. David Moyes cannot believe it. Hands on his head in disbelief there. The Scotsman. Just the 18 years older, or just less than 18 years older than Xabi Alonso. David Moyes. As it's with Frimpong in the final third. On the right wing position, crosses towards Boniface. And it's spilled by Fabianski, but it's cleared by Souček. Up to Antonio, who can't quite hold it up for West Ham as he pulls down Palacios. And it's a free kick for Leverkusen just inside the centre circle. Not the best of balls, that by Frimpong. It was rather close to the goalkeeper, but Fabianski could only parry it out. Thankfully for West Ham, it didn't fall to a Leverkusen player in their white away kit tonight. As we've restarted play on halfway with Jonathan Tah for Leverkusen. Goes to the right here to Stanisic, midway side the West Ham half. Been made to go backwards here, or goes inside instead to Palacios, then forward to Xhaka. Back for Palacios, lays it off to Xhaka again, who gives it away. Unlike Granit Xhaka, Alvarez back heels to Ward-Prowse, and then goes back to Ogbonna on the edge of the box, well kept there by Ward-Prowse. Wasn't a great pass to him by Alvarez. And it's now the Hammers on the ball. And they need their goal. Simple as it gets. They need to score. A 1-0 win wouldn't be enough for them. It would inflict the first defeat for Leverkusen all season. Souček sends it over the top. In behind on the right-hand side. Tapsoba heads it into the air, where it'll be Bowen to chest it down. And he runs into Hincapié. Bowen's not happy with the decision, and he's going to get booked it for dissent. But I don't think Bowen cares. I think he says it's a joke. So, Bowen booked. Bit of a throw of the arm out, which sent Hincapié to the floor. So in a left-back position, it's a Leverkusen free kick. And the German side just dominating a bit too much for West Ham in terms of the fact they need a goal. West Ham aren't creating as many chances as Leverkusen are taking their time. They do go long with the free kick. Tapsoba sending it down the line to Adli. Had to be headed out of play there by Soufal. So it's still a Leverkusen ball here on the near side with 18 minutes of the 90 to play. And it's thrown back to the halfway line here too. The number 3 of Piero Hincapié. Wirtz, again, in between the lines, finding these pockets of spaces really well. Playing it to his right now to Stanisic, who can keep it away from Kudus, allows Frimpong to take over. It's now Xhaka in the central area, about 35 yards from goal. Goes to his right to Palacios. It's now to the far side to Stanisic. Keeps it away from Kudus. And then goes back here to Ezequiel Palacios. Just keeping the ball a lot better in this second half, Leverkusen. It's now on the near side with Adli. Chested touch and then goes back to Hincapié. Xhaka forward to Wirtz. Hincapié. Wirtz. Free kick there for West Ham. I'm not sure what that's for. If it's for handball, it's actually come off the hand of Alvarez. So the referee's just seen that wrong. Oh no, it's a free kick for Leverkusen. I was going to say. It clearly came off the hand of Alvarez. So it's a free kick for Leverkusen. Quite far away from the goal. As David Moyes is in conversation with Xabi Alonso. As we've taken the free kick quickly. Hincapié with the cross. Good header away there by Zuma. Drops to Alvarez. Over the head of Stanisic. Into Kudus, who can run forward beyond the halfway line. Kudus has it. Looks out to the right. Deflects off Wirtz and away for West Ham. As it's Boniface with the ball. Adley's making a run in behind. Adley's been found in the box. On his right foot. Shoots towards goal. Blocked by Soufal. Falls here for Xhaka. Adley 20 yards out. Shoots again. Blocked again. He heads it backwards though, so Leverkusen keep it. And as bad as it's to say, it just looks like West Ham are starting to tire. Maybe substitutes need to be made, but they don't really have anything on the bench of quality, to be rather blunt. Is Adley tripped by Soufal. And it's a free kick for Leverkusen on this near side again. 15 minutes to play. It's becoming less and less likely that West Ham are going to get an equaliser here in aggregate. So it looks like they're going to launch this into the box here, Leverkusen, towards the far post. Jonathan Tah, who can't beat Ogbonna to the header. It's now with Kudus, who tries to drive away from Xhaka if possible, and he does. Kudus still wants to go forward, but there's nothing really ahead of him in terms of space. So he goes back here to his former Ajax teammate of Alvarez, who then sends it over the top. Again, aimless. Don't know where the ball's going. It's nowhere near Jared Bowen. Straight into the hands of the goalkeeper of Kovar. Keep trying these balls over the top, but they're not working in this half like they were in the first. There's Adley away down the left in the box here. Gets it across towards Frimpong. It's been cut out by Cresswell. And the flag had stayed down. Zuma's furious. Let's have a look here. Ogbonna pushed up, but Cresswell didn't. I think he was just on. Cresswell pushing up rather late. But he made up for it by clearing the cross away. Because Frimpong would have had a tap in at the far post from 6 yards out. Still will Leverkusen. Seen so much better from them in this second half. I know they've not scored, but they don't need to at the moment. West Ham just need one more big chance. And they need to be clinical when it comes, if it comes. Halfway line, Boniface for Leverkusen. Just goes back here to tap Zoba. It's now Palacios. Too much time in the midfield for Leverkusen when they've got the ball there. And I think that just more highlights the point that West Ham are just starting to tire a little bit. Because it is tiring. It's having to chase around this ball so much because Leverkusen can keep it so well here. It's taps over. Pulled back by Bowen. Free kick on halfway for Leverkusen. Bowen needs to be careful with what he says. He is already booked for dissent, Jared Bowen, the assist maker for tonight's goal. It's Antonio with the only goal so far in this game in the 13th minute. As West Ham have to travel to Crystal Palace at the weekend before two challenging games against Liverpool at Anfield and then Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, a place they've been pretty good at overall this season. Chelsea, in between that, they may have a semi-final in the Europa League if they can make it. As I don't think that it's helping West Ham that if they like it or not, decisions aren't going their way from the referee, and it's just really killing the atmosphere, making it rather negative. The first half was all positive with the way they were attacking Leverkusen. It's not been the case in the second half, and it just seems like the atmosphere has changed, and that's, bled onto the pitch. Still Leverkusen on the ball. It's so good. Oh, they're giving it away. Boniface straight to Kudus. That is such a poor pass. Kudus is pretty much on his own here. Edge of the box. Strikes it. Comes off the foot of Stanisic. Boniface tries to clear it. Comes off Alvarez. Bounces around. Wirtz tries to take control, but he can't. Tackled by Souček. And it's now back with West Ham in the Leverkusen half on the near side with Bowen, who can try and turn. Last touch off Bowen. And again, decision doesn't go their way. It's a Leverkusen throw-in. As the referee's got the cards out again here. And now Zuma's booked. This referee is trying to keep control, but in fact he's losing it. Because, that should have been, I think, a West Ham throw. It wasn't given, so I think Soufal was then booked for dissent, and then Zuma wanted to talk to the referee. The referee was running away, so Zuma just tapped him on the back, not aggressively, just tapped him to try and get his attention, and then the referees turned around and then booked Zuma. Baffling refereeing. This is what I can't stand about referees, when they try and get control of the game by giving out bookings, when they're just not bookings. He's completely misunderstood that situation there. Zuma was just trying to tap his back, just tap his back just to get his attention. He wanted to talk to the referee. He's turned around and booked him. Just have a day off. Honestly, they love power, the referees, in the modern game. It's where the game's gone. Referees love power. They have too much of it. I can't stand it. But it's West Ham back on the ball anyway. They've got 10 minutes plus added on time left. There's me refereeing rant over. As you can tell, I'm not a big fan of them. Zuma gives it away, looking up front for Bowen. That's a poor pass. That's the last thing West Ham need to do. They just can't give the ball back to Leverkusen. Because when they get it, they do very well at keeping it. Tapsoba does have to go long, though. Hopeful ball, and Zuma kicks it backwards, and Adley will keep it in on this near side. I thought he might have let that go for a throw-in. Gets it to Boniface, who's tripped by Alvarez. Another free kick that goes against West Ham, and they're taking it quickly. Wirtz from 25 yards shoots, deflects off Ogbonna. Corner kick on the far side. And these decisions that keep going their way, you can just tell it's absolutely zapping all momentum and atmosphere out of the stadium. Of course, the Leverkusen supporters are making their noise. They could be seeing their first defeat of the season, but I don't think they'll give one if they come out with the victory overall in the tie. I think they'll definitely trade a loss if it means they can progress through. Corner on the far side. Be taken by Adley. In it goes, caught by Fabianski. That is a really good catch there. There's Fabianski falls to the ground there on his 39th birthday. 10th appearance for him in the Europa League. 9 of them have come this season. He's only missed 1, and that was Olympiacos away in the group stage. As it is Ward-Prowse on the ball for West Ham. We're still in the Hammers half. As Ward-Prowse finds Bowen on halfway. Back inside to Ward-Prowse, who's continued his run. Then forward to Antonio. Can't quite beat Tapsoba to it, who plays it forward, but cut out by Souček. Played forward by Hincapié. Straight to Edson Alvarez for West Ham on halfway. Controls it quickly. Keeps it away from Boniface with a pass to Ogbonna. He'll try and get forward with the ball himself. Finds the ball to Cresswell. Gets beyond him and then thrown in behind for Kudus in the final third. In the box. The cross is in the air as it deflects off Stanisic. Tar avoids the corner. Heads it away. Kudus will keep it in on the far side for West Ham. Kudus with it. Try to take on Stanisic. Running out of room towards the corner flag. He will work the cross though. Bowen chests it. Edge of the area. Tries to play it through towards Ward-Prowse. Cut out though by Palacios. And he can play the pass to Wirtz, on once more to Boniface, and then in behind for Frimpong, who's onside as he made the run in his own half. Frimpong 1-on-1 with Fabianski to kill the tie. Oh, he skied it. That's really bad. Could that come back and bite Leverkusen? They could have had the tie wrapped up there through Jeremy Frimpong, the substitute. He's having the best goal scoring season of his career. He's got 12 in all competitions, 2 of them in the Europa League, and 1-on-1 with Fabianski. He's completely miscued it. Huge chance. That should lift the West Ham crowd. They go long over the top for Antonio down the left, who slips, and he loses out to Jonathan Tart. And it's Leverkusen with the ball. Wirtz wanted the ball out wide to Frimpong, but he wasn't there. Thrown for West Ham. As a substitute will be made here for the home side. They're going to make 2 changes. Vladimir Sufal, who's on a booking on his 150th West Ham appearance. He'll be replaced by Ben Johnson. So like for like. And the second change, we'll see Edson Alvarez, the Mexican who missed the first leg with a yellow card suspension. He'll be replaced by Maxwell Cornet. So more of an attacking change here for West Ham. Cornet just the 1 goal so far this season. That came in the 2-2 draw away at Sheffield United in the middle of January. So back underway. 6 minutes of the 90 plus added on time. West Ham still leading the game. It could be the first defeat for Leverkusen all season. But like I say, I don't think they'll care too much if it gets them through in this Europa League quarter-final. Kudus surrounded by white shirts, but he can turn away from one, but not from Palacios. It's actually seen as a foul from the referee, which surprises me. Palacios booked it as he's just slowing down the restart. I'm not sure if that was even a foul from Palacios. I thought he won the ball there, and Kudus, who just almost turned into traffic. Again, the referee showing the lack of control he has in the game. Souček booked there as well. Well, he's been booked at some point. Ward-Prowse takes it quickly down the line for Johnson. The referee wasn't ready for it to be taken. So it'll be a retake here for Ward-Prowse, who's just going to deliver this into the box as best he can. So Ward-Prowse to cross into the box all the way through. It's gone all the way through and out for a goal kick. There was an offside in there anyway. No idea why that's been given, because it's gone out for a goal kick. As around the grounds, it does look like Liverpool will be exiting out of the competition here. It's Atalanta 0, Liverpool 1. But of course, Atalanta had that 3-goal lead from the first leg. So it looks like the winner of this tie, which looks to be Leverkusen at the moment, they will take on Roma. Now, Roma are 2-0 up against AC Milan. 3-0 in that aggregate in that quarter-final, as the Leverkusen goalkeeper here, Mate Kovar, has been yellow carded for time wasting as he takes the free kick from the offside. Down the Leverkusen left, chested down by Boniface, hooked away by Souček, headed forward by Tapsoba, flicked on by Boniface, straight to Adli in the left wing position. Wirtz making a run forward. Adli goes on his own, plays it to the right to Boniface, who gives it away looking for Wirtz on the left wing position. And it's now with Bowen on the right wing, trodden on by Hincapié. And that'll be a free kick for West Ham United. Still got time. They are running out of it. But there's still time here. As we're going to get a change. And Florian Wirtz, who's not had the best of nights for Leverkusen after scoring his first professional hat-trick at the weekend. He'll be replaced here by the number 8 of Robert Andrich. So solidifying the midfield even more. Looks like it'll be a flat 3 in the midfield of Andrich, Palacios and Xhaka, as Fabianski goes long up to the edge of the 18-yard box, where Andrich wins the header straight off the bench, getting involved. Headed on by Adli. Can't reach Frimpong. Headed forward by Ogbonna to Cresswell. Out wide left now to Cornet, who can keep the ball for West Ham. He goes back to Ogbonna. He lays it forward here to Ward-Prowse. Gets it over the leg of Frimpong to find Cresswell, who delivers the cross in straight to Korvar at the near post. Just quite simply a shocking delivery. It's Cresswell struggling with cramp. Not what David Moyes needs to see. They don't have any other fullback options off the bench, West Ham, as Kovar kicks it into the air for Leverkusen. Zuma heads backwards there instead of forwards, and it goes to Adley on the left wing. One-on-one with Johnson, plays it inside towards Boniface, who can hold the ball up, and he goes backwards to the halfway line to tap Zoba, who's facing backwards himself towards his own goal, finds Andrich. Leverkusen's number 8, fresh off the bench, goes to the right to the centre-back of Tar, then forward to Stanisic, who drives beyond the halfway line for Leverkusen. He's been chased down by Cornet, but he plays it through for Frimpong in the area, angles tight, holds it up, waiting for the right pass to make. Frimpong has it. He'll shoot with the left foot, and it deflects beyond Fabianski. And Leverkusen are through to the semi-finals of the Europa League, and they shall remain unbeaten this season in all competitions. They were minutes away from defeat, but that defeat is no longer a possibility as they found themselves level. It's fortunate. It took a huge deflection on the way through. Nothing Fabianski could do. But Leverkusen level, and they lead by 2 goals on aggregate. Just tiredness. Needed to stop the shot from coming in, Ogbonna. It was too easy for Frimpong to get on his left foot. Just gave him too much respect. Just almost watching Frimpong just do whatever he wants. And he got onto his left foot. He had the shot towards the near post. Cannoned off Cresswell to the far post. Completely deceiving Fabianski. And on the night, it's West Ham 1, Leverkusen 1 on the overall tie. It's West Ham 1, Leverkusen 3. And the German champions will be going through to the last 4 of the Europa League for a second season on the bounce. And it does also mean their unbeaten season remains for now. It'll be 44 games this season without defeat. It's absolutely astonishing what they're doing. And tonight, they've not quite been at their best, but they've done enough there to just nick a goal, quite fortunately, via the deflection from Cresswell after the shot from Frimpong. I think it'll go down as a Frimpong goal, because I believe it was going on target at that near post before the deflection. It's down the right side here. West Ham have it with Johnson, who can cross it off Palacios. And it's a corner kick on the near side for West Ham. And it's a goal that will be given to Jeremy Frimpong. He had a big chance minutes before that, but he made up scoring that opportunity there to get his 13th of the season. Ward-Prowse delivers the corner to the far post, headed on towards goal by Souček. Comfortable save down low to Kovar's right. And we've had 4 minutes indicated of added on time here. Souček got up well, but absolutely nowhere near beating the goalkeeper. Straight at the Czech. 6'5" giant in between the sticks for Leverkusen. As they go long here, straight up to Boniface, who's offside. So we'll have a West Ham free kick just inside their own half here. 3 minutes left to play of added on time. Leverkusen just so good in the second half, keeping the ball. Just tired out West Ham. Because West Ham used so much energy in the first half, and then they had to use so much energy for the opposite reason. You know, they used so much energy in the first half because they were attacking so much, and then they've used so much energy in the second half just due to chasing the ball. And that's why Leverkusen has ended up scoring their goal. Just tiredness from West Ham, not closing down Frimpong quick enough. And then his deflected shot hit the back of the net. It's good game management from Leverkusen in the second half. Never looked worried, always looked calm. And they've got themselves back 2 in front on aggregate as Ogbonna goes long into the box to Antonio. Chest it down here for Souček. Cleared by Hincapie. And it'll be kept in on the far side by Frimpong as well, who's going to run at Cresswell. And Ward-Prowse shrugged off the ball though there by Cornet. Free kick on halfway for West Ham as Frimpong eventually brought down Cornet. Good tracking back there from the Ivorian. As AC Milan have got one back against Roma, but they still need 2 more in added on time. That's never going to happen. Marseille are 1-0 up against Benfica, so that is 2-2, so that could go to extra time. And Liverpool have been defeated by Atalanta in the Europa League. That's an upset. Liverpool won 1-0 on the night. A Salah penalty, but couldn't score any more goals. So Liverpool are out. As West Ham get in the box, cleared. Olgisvars Kudus now on the edge of the area. He's got Johnson to his right. Plays it to Johnson, who will cross it in at the near post, headed away by Hincapié. And he'll drop to Adley, who can beat Ward-Prowse. And it's a 3-on-3 here. Adley through the middle. Frimpong out to the right. He plays it to Frimpong on the edge of the box. Running at Ogbonna. Frimpong will square it to Boniface. Takes the touch. Onto his left. Boniface with the shot. And over the bar it goes. Boniface has scored in his last 2 games for Leverkusen. In the first leg against West Ham and then at the weekend against Werder Bremen from the penalty spot. But couldn't score there on the counter-attack. And with less than a minute to go, it looks like 2 more English sides are crashing out of Europe. Looks like it's just going to be Aston Villa left in the Conference League for English sides. As currently we've got Atalanta through. Looks like Roma and Leverkusen are through as well, as Cornet down the left gets away from Tar, but it's cleaned up by Andrich, who looks like he's playing in the back 5 there for Leverkusen, the central midfielder, playing as the central centre-back. Kicking the ball away with a slide challenge. Looks like it's going to be a long throw in here from Antonio, last throw of the dice. Maybe trying to win the game within the 90 minutes here, West Ham. Even though it won't be enough to get it to extra time. Antonio launches it in. Headed on by Souček. Headed away by Adley. Drops to Ward-Prowse, who will go to his right to Johnson. Wants to go forward here, Johnson. He's going to let fly from afar, and it just goes wide. Not far from Ben Johnson. He's not scored since October 2021. That wasn't far. Allowed to shoot. And that'll be the last action of the game. Bayer Leverkusen remain unbeaten. 44 games without defeat. They come away with a draw here at the London Stadium. It was hard fought, but the second half performance reflects the goal they scored. It was deserved, really. West Ham really came at Leverkusen in the first half, but the German side took over in the second, kept the ball really well, just completely tired out West Ham. That's all it was. It was tiredness that got the better of the Hammers, which allowed Leverkusen to score late to ensure that they will be through to the last 4 of the Europa League, and it keeps their unbeaten run. It did look like they were going to lose the game 1-0. I'm not sure Leverkusen would have been too bothered if they would have lost, if it meant they still went through, but they've done both. They've remained unbeaten, and they've got themselves through. They had to really try. They had to really keep themselves level-headed in the game. In the first half, emotions were flaring, and it was getting a bit heated on and off the pitch. But in the second half, it completely flipped. And Leverkusen completely settled it down, took out all the sting from the atmosphere. The West Ham crowd really flattened itself. Azuma, the captain, wants to have a conversation with the referee, but the referee don't want to hear from him or Antonio. The last thing they want here, West Ham, is to get anyone sent off for any future European games they have, possibly next season if they qualify for Europe. They are 2 points off 6th place, which would get them Europa League football, I believe. I think 7th place is the Conference League at the moment. Obviously, we still need to get the coefficient points added up and everything like that, see what positions result, what European competition in the Premier League. But it's Leverkusen's night. Still unbeaten. Found themselves as champions at the weekend with that 5-0 win against Werder Bremen. And they were able to overcome the celebrations, not let that overtake them in this game. They were able to perform again to the maximum ability. Maybe not possibly in the first half, where West Ham really came at them, but in the second half it was the same old usual Xabi Alonso Leverkusen, who dominate games, tire out opponents, and are lethal in attack when they need to be. And Frimpong was, yes, it was deflected, but he had the shot on goal. And it gave his side the leveller in the game, and it gave them a 2-goal cushion on aggregate. And Leverkusen will take on Roma in the Europa League semi-final. That'll be a tasty tie. De Rossi against Xabi Alonso, 2 of the better holding midfielders we've seen in this generation just gone in the footballing world. Be a very important tie for Leverkusen as they are looking to go on for a treble. They have won the Bundesliga. They're in the cup final, and they'll be favourites. Well, they would have been favourites against whoever, but certainly there will be favourites against Kaiserslautern. And they've also got a Europa League semi-final now, as they try and travel and try and make their way to Dublin for the final. The treble is well and truly on. They're history makers already, but they want to take that history even further. But they've got a lot more football to play before they do that. But here, at the London Stadium, it finishes West Ham 1, Leverkusen 1, and it finishes 3-1 to the German side on aggregate. In other news around the ground, Liverpool are also out. Atalanta defeated them 3-1 on aggregate. Liverpool won 1-0 on the night themselves, but couldn't quite get the 3 goals they needed to at least send it to a minimum of extra time. So Atalanta will take on either Marseille or Benfica. That one's gone into extra time, as it's 2-2 on aggregate between Marseille and the Benfica. We're still waiting for the full-time whistle between Roma and AC Milan. AC Milan were able to get one back against Roma, who have been down to 10 men since the 31st minute. And that is full-time. So Roma will take on Bayer Leverkusen in the semi-final. 2 English sides crash out of the competition. Liverpool quadruple turned into a possible treble. And that treble now is not possible. They're going to try and get the double, but it'll be very difficult now, as they are not top of the Premier League. They do trail Manchester City, so not quite the farewell tour that Jurgen Klopp would have wanted. Great commentary, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who did join. We had a decent amount of people who stuck around. My average view duration is quite high from what it usually is, so it does mean that people tuned in and stuck around, which is always nice to see. Obviously, it means I'm doing something right when people join. They are sticking around for the full match. Much more enjoyable game. Don't get me wrong, the second half wasn't amazing. It was just Leverkusen being Leverkusen, keeping the ball so well, knocking it around. It can be slightly boring, but it works, and you can't really, begrudge them of it, because they have literally not lost a game all season doing it. So you're not going to really argue against it. But the first half was really enjoyable. West Ham obviously were winning 1-0 at half-time, got their goal through Antonio. But like I say, just tired out by the end of the game, just through the relentlessness of the Leverkusen style of play. But like I say, I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Next 2 commentaries coming on Sunday. 12:30 kick-off between Blackburn Rovers and Sheffield Wednesday in a big game at the bottom of the Championship. And following that, almost straight after, we'll be covering Coventry taking on Manchester United at 3:30 in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. But here at the London Stadium, West Ham really gave it a good go here against Bayer Leverkusen. They were 1-0 up until the 89th minute. A deflected strike from Frimpong made it 1-1 on the night. A 2-goal lead for Leverkusen overall. It was probably deserved. It did mean that Leverkusen now keep their unbeaten run for the season. It's 44 games for Xabi Alonso's side without defeat. West Ham came close, but not close enough. They crash out of the Europa League quarter-final, and it ends here. West Ham 1, Leverkusen 1. On aggregate, the German side go through winners by 3-1.